All rise. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did everybody get signed in that wants to speak tonight? All right. Start with the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda with flexibility.
Got a motion on the floor?
I'll second it.
Got a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries unanimously. Approval of last month's minutes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
Motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Got a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries unanimously. Clerk Treasurer's report.
Vouchers, I don't think everybody's looked at them yet, $68,517.63.
68,517.63.
Just quick note, I already told Tyler and Scott, but just let the rest of you guys know, we invested $1.3 million into the West Indiana account. I did the transfer on May 22nd, the settlement date is May 23rd. 8 days' time, we had already increased with our interest over $1,700. So, making money,
About $200 a day.
almost.
It's
And
awesome.
then June 23rd to the 27th is State Board of Accounts School in South Bend. It is not required every year, it's required every other year, but I kind of like to go because they're offering institute and academy classes that goes towards my certification.
23rd through the 28th.
27th,
27th.
it's $500.
Is that money, do we need to prove that?
It's under my threshold on my credit card, if I put it on my card.
Plus,
Plus hotel is $179.99, I think. I'll have to look it up, I got the discount rate, so.
I think we probably should approve
Oh,
one.
yeah, how much? 7? Up to 7? Mileage.
2, 4, 6, 8.
What do you need with mileage, room?
For total,
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to
You're like at
I don't know off the top of my head.
17.
Apologize.
It's roughly $800 in room. 179 it should be due.
Oh, shoot, that's right, I was just taking one night.
Yeah, so it's 4 nights at $179. If you round that to 200, that ought to cover mileage and everything. So it'd be 8 plus 5, right?
Yeah, 13.
13 should cover everything.
11.
All right, let's start with the vouchers here. Look for approval of the vouchers.
I'll make a motion, we approve the vouchers for $68,517.63.
Got a motion on the floor.
I second that.
Andy seconds that. Got a motion on the floor and a second to approve the vouchers, 68,517, right? And 63 cents. Any discussion?
Yes. So, so we're approving this. If we approve it the way it is, we still have question on, like this mileage cost that's been brought to my attention. I mean, it's like, I didn't know we were doing this. Is that still an open subject even though we approve the agenda?
So we have mileage reimbursement on the list tonight to discuss.
I see that.
The
But I
current,
don't want to approve this.
without that being removed.
Well,
Or figure out
Or
a way.
if we can approve it the way it is and then still discuss it.
I think to reduce it would be easier to add, if that's what you're thinking.
Did we do flexibility on it tonight? If we did,
We
we
did.
could push this voucher thing to ask. We can move the mileage thing up to now, I guess is the point.
That's fine.
Well, that's why I said with flexibility.
Yeah, so we
So
can
here we
rearrange
go.
the schedule a little bit,
Here we go.
so.
in lieu of said conversation, the mileage reimbursement policy, you guys all have a copy of that in front of you. According to our internal policy, and I will say that we've been doing this wrong for probably the last, well, since Brenda was here. It happened probably about halfway through her term, so probably a year ago, a little over a year ago, year and a half ago. So a year and a half ago
Right.
is when it started. Brenda and Rod started paying mileage for driving personal vehicles within the town. The policy in front of us, expense reimbursement, says no, and you guys can read it, but the most important part is no mileage reimbursement shall be paid for travel between an employee's home and the town office or other town work area. Mileage reimbursement and the town office or other town work area. Town office, mileage reimbursement shall be calculated from the town office to the regular work area and to the out-of-town destination and back. Travel expense reports should be submitted, which we're doing all of that. After reading the policy, we realized that we do not, or should not be paying mileage within the town limits for use of your personal, somebody's personal vehicle, unless it is approved by us technically ahead of time. And actually, I think it says travel expenses should be approved by us ahead of time as well, if I remember correctly. So with that being said, we realized we made an error. We went to, I talked to Tina and I talked to Janet last Friday and told them that until this gets cleared up, we can no longer pay mileage within the town. And that's where we stand right now. I'm not sure what's in the expense report 100%, but can either of you guys answer what's currently in this voucher packet?
Both
My
of them
May
have in town.
mileage,
Your May mileage in town.
Yeah, and same.
well, everywhere.
Okay.
But my mileage in town doing code enforcement, certificate of occupancy inspections, checking on permitting, checking on construction sites, complaints. I use my car for that. I'm willing to use the UTV for some of that. The guys are using both trucks. They offered me a dump truck. I mean, if you want, I'll drive a dump truck around. I personally would be uncomfortable. I would be uncomfortable doing code enforcement in the UTV. I already feel exposed when I'm taking pictures of people's homes from my car.
Can we,
I feel weird about that.
on your code enforcement, for the next few weeks, could you, your pictures and all that you do, and the addresses, can we see that? I mean, this, and the reason I'm asking is there was a property that's close to my house that just got mowed for the first time this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's a long time.
It's because I wrote them a letter.
But
I can tell
I mean,
you,
that's, we're talking 2 or 3 months that it should have been cut. Not by you, but
Well,
I mean, by the owner.
I think
okay,
it's,
I was-
step back. So you said that the dump truck was offered. In my opinion,
That's-
we have what, a 1500 and a Ford pickup?
And
Go ahead,
we
Brian.
offered to switch or, we
Right.
drive the trucks.
Right.
Or we get a town vehicle for those.
but they need their trucks. They're
for
using them
Janet to go
constantly.
buy
Right.
Supplies, not
I'll
just
just-
for
Well,
a
so-
town issue.
And years ago, when I was on council, the main maintenance guy, things change, I get all that. He drove the dump truck a lot,
Yep,
and, I mean, you know me.
that's all we had.
Yeah, yeah, but, and maybe we can coordinate, I'm just thinking out loud, is maybe 2 days a week, you're doing code enforcement, 2 days a week, they leave a truck back, they drive a dump truck if they need it. I think you guys in the dump truck be better than her.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
you know what I mean, just
Yeah. And
communicate,
it's a smaller 1500 truck.
Yeah.
It seems to be, it's easier to get in and out of it, that's it, so, yeah.
well, that's why we bought, multiple vehicles was for use, mainly for maintenance, but if we need to use,
What would be the option of getting, say, a vehicle that's no longer being used by a city department?
So Fort Wayne will not do that. You have to be a non-for-profit
Okay.
to get one. That's how we got them at the fire
Right,
station.
I just
left
asked
and
if
right.
there was any way that the county or anybody has anything that we could, like if they're phasing out a car.
Well, county, I've been done this several times. They take them to auction to get the most, and they will donate to 501c3 because then they can take full value and write it off. So to donate to us, they would lose money.
Right.
I'm not saying.
I don't have a problem paying for it either necessarily, but I mean, I don't want to pay
Well, and I don't
$20,000
think.
for a $5,000 car either. you
No,
know?
no, no. And this is something that we can investigate. And,
Right. I wouldn't mind getting another vehicle that's,
I love cars.
I know.
So,
Tina, go ahead.
Just landed
Personally,
one of yours, Scott.
I didn't take this
Oh,
job
that's it.
to get mileage. I really don't
No, we know
personally
that.
care at all if you pay me or not. I do like the freedom to be able to take a complaint, jump in my car and immediately drive over and not have to negotiate with these guys. I'm perfectly happy to just be independent and do what I need to do. And if I don't get claimed for my 3 to 5 miles a day, I don't really care, to be honest.
Can we change the policy?
well, we can, but I don't know if that's what we want. I like the idea of maybe trying to find another vehicle, and so that way, there is somewhere out there, and I know for sure that old town vehicles like that do go to auction, and you can buy them at a much reduced price. And so what happens if, Mike is still concerned with you taking your car so if you're gonna go look at a complaint and you're in an accident,
Or even someone taking a picture of your license plate, finding out where you're at.
there's, who
Oh, I don't like
who
that.
pays for
I've never thought of that, Greg. Now you just
Well,
made
I
me
know,
really
but who pays for that? Fire department?
Yeah.
If you're going to a call,
Paul,
they pay.
anything
And
down
if you're
the
not, they don't. So, this is the bigger concern. That's why I don't want to change it is
Okay.
if a town manager, Janet, someone needs to do something for the town to have a vehicle, a small, cheap vehicle. We don't need no big truck. I mean, we're talking, to me, a small economical vehicle.
Yeah.
Smart car.
Well, and
That hurt.
Smart ass.
I think we can start investigating that and going around and start talking to some of these guys and see what's out there.
Yeah.
I think that's wise. I think it's wise to leave the policy the way it's written.
This is for long-term future.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
years down the road, not for the immediate situation, So I think, if we agree that the policy stands, then we need to remove,
I feel it stands. I've read it several times. He feels it stands. So, now we need to maybe look at another option.
so what's our total mileage in there? What's our total cost?
This
in there?
current month
Yeah.
was like, what, 80?
$80-some.
And then,
There's two
82.
of them, there's one for Janet and there's one for Tamara.
So,
and how much of it is that both of them were that amount?
No, Janet's is significant.
does Janet, and I know Park pays part of her, we pay part. How does that work for mileage?
So Janet's mileage for the town, quite a bit of it is running to the bank because of segregation of duties and having to check some balances. I create the deposits and put them together, but she has to be the one that takes them to the bank. That's where a majority of her town mileage is, and then also running to Sam's Club to get supplies, and or running to Grable, to get supplies as well. Her park stuff is mostly going to Cedarville for a tour, going to Riverside for a tour, that
But
type of stuff.
the Parks pays that, right?
Right.
Okay.
But they're under the same policy, because it's a town
Well,
policy.
but that's part,
Right.
we can take it to Dirk and he can handle it the way he wants.
Right.
So we really need to have, that just shows more of a reason why we should have something here.
Yeah.
And, if she's got to run errands, communication and work out.
I think we need to do that through the maintenance guys until we figure out a car.
Well, I agree, for sure, but
I don't want to hamstring you guys, but at the same point,
No, and I mentioned that we can make it work, whatever truck they need
Right.
that day, as long as we know. Because Chris and I are going two different.
right.
yeah. And on that note, I've been walking at
And then what sits out here, so if we have 3 vehicles here, something's gonna sit outside.
Right.
Why would, so you guys come here, clock in, and then get started?
Right.
Okay, and then, what's all kept here? I don't know.
The
Two
white
trucks?
truck, the two trucks.
Yeah, okay.
So
Then
the
could you-
pump trucks are over there, across the street.
And then the UTV's over there too?
Yes.
All right. Well, if we're gonna leave something set out, I mean, I don't like that at all, really. I mean, that's why we built the barn. Maybe you guys start here and just go over there and then separate from there in a truck.
And leave here in one truck and go over
Yeah.
there, and then go your
And then
separate.
do whatever it is you do. The park looked really nice. I've been walking over there against my judgment. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for acknowledging.
So, on this mileage deal, we have the power to approve or deny it. If we leave the policy stand the way it is and say from this point forward, because they didn't know. right?
No, yeah, I'm not.
So I don't have a problem
that,
paying
but
this
then
out, but from this point
We're
forward,
done.
we're done.
And we will work with correcting it on our part.
So, I guess I can make that a motion that,
Well, the motion's right now on the table.
well,
We
to
haven't
pay
said-
that out as is, but I'm saying though, as far as paying that mileage, I think we need that into a motion probably, or at least a consensus of it.
I think we can have a general consensus of it myself, because it's in the vouchers, and we already discussed it.
Right.
And, but I think going forward, I agree with you 100%. I say work the problem, find a vehicle for them,
Right,
yeah.
yep.
I'll
Just
head
work
that
on
out,
that.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't care.
And something a little nice too, so if Angela wants to take it while she's out of town.
Right.
No, I agree.
If she wanted.
Well, we want a dependable
Or
vehicle.
when we do our training and such, we go to conventions, the NDOT safety stuff we just did.
Right.
Yeah, we have the town trucks and, you know, guys show up in there, you can tell who's from where just by the trucks, right? It is nice to have nice stuff to take.
So, if that's the consensus that we paid this month's mileage, then we can go back to our voucher, which is on the table for the 68,517.63.
I'm good with it.
So there's a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll do a roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy?
Brian.
Brian, sorry. I'm aye as well. I don't know, my mind just went blank when I looked at you. Sorry.
Whatever.
All right, back to your
Oh, yeah.
travel thing, June 23rd through the 27th. Did you get a number on that?
Sorry.
We came up with roughly $1,300. That'd be $200 travel per night, and that was 4 nights, it'd be 800 plus 5.
Yeah, at 1260, so 1300. And then whatever
Oh, so that's plus mileage.
And
That should
meal-
include,
and meal
right, it's 100.
allowances if there's meals not included.
I typically don't get much. I get equal license, get dinner. Or get with together.
The one you want.
So, and where's that at?
South Bend.
And you said it's $179 a night is what the room cost was?
I'm pretty sure it was. I apologize. I thought I had it on here. I don't have to go. Just me.
We prefer you to be educated.
Hated.
You handle the money.
I think 1,300 would cover it, in my opinion.
Well, we can go to 14.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Up to.
Taxes.
Yeah. I'll make a motion. We spent up to $1,400 for Angela to go to the conference June 23rd through the 27th to cover her expense.
I second that.
Motion on the floor and a second for $1,400 for the conference, June 23rd through the 27th for Angela. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy? Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
All right, jump down to town council, old and unfinished business. So, last month we had a proposal in front of us. I did not catch when I was adding up the information that everything had already been added together. I thought we had to add I believe it's the install fee from Votal back in. With that being said, I just wanted to clear that up, that we had a calculation error, that the money that they had set aside in that account, fund balance, was enough to cover it. It had been approved to purchase the snowflakes earlier in the year, and this was to approve the electrical, and it was all coming out of the same fund balance. So, I don't think we need to re-vote on anything. I think it's all been cleared up. I just wanted to make sure that we discussed it tonight and that, that's where we're at.
Has any of that been started? Do we know?
The lights are
They're
there.
done.
We bought the lights.
The lights are done and
I meant the electrical work.
the electrical, we have a meeting this Thursday between AEP and VOTOD to determine exactly where on the poles the outlets go, and then VOTOD will begin.
I figured it'd take a minute with them.
So, any other discussion on holiday street lighting? Okay, street inspection quote for new subdivision, Macarios.
So Harris Place, new subdivision going in just north of town, across the bridge. There's been some conversation about potentially having a little bit more construction oversight of the work when the streets go in, since the town will be inheriting that roadway. The status quo historically has been that the county highway department will come out and will witness the proof roll. At the end of the project, they will come out and do a final inspection after everything's been paved. And they'll ask the contractor to core the pavement so that they can confirm that the cross-section of that pavement is consistent with what's required in the contract. Additionally, they will come back out at the end of the maintenance bond period, which is usually 2 years out, and they'll walk the project with the contractor to address any potential, what I would call warranty issues, any potential failures. That's a system that's always worked with them in the county. That's how they handle county roadways. I believe that's the way that Lakes of Leo was handled.
What
And
was that
that is-
again? What was that again? I'm sorry. You said Lakes Leo is handled,
County Highway Department came out and
They did.
witnessed the
They
proof
did.
roll,
and
They
it
did the
didn't
payment
cost us a
cores.
dime.
and it didn't cost you a dime.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that's why we met with Mr. Fry,
Well, that's the storm drains, not the road.
oh, this is different.
Yeah, this is different. This is
Okay.
for roadways.
Gotcha.
So I share that all with you in that you can still do that with Macarios Place. However, over the course of several meetings, there has been conversation that the town may be interested in having higher level construction oversight when things are going on. Basically, when it's being built, looking at things like, are they doing proper rolling operations to roll the asphalt in? Is it being placed at the proper temperature? Do the material properties match what they're supposed to be putting in? All the things that you would observe while it's being physically constructed when the county is not out there. If you would like to have that additional level of oversight, that's what this proposal is for. And it budgets basically 2 days a week, not necessarily 2 full days at a time, basically 16 hours worth of time, scattered out about whenever they're doing the construction operations over 2 months. So that's the question before you. The county's still willing to come out and provide that initial level of oversight that they've always done before at no cost. If you would like to take one step further and do more, this was my guess at trying to align oversight with your goals. You know, you could look at me and say, we only want you out there half as much. Obviously, we would change the not to exceed amount, we would reduce that. You could say, we don't want to have anything to do with it, we're perfectly fine with the county handling it as they've always handled it.
So, I guess, the first question I have is, obviously, the amount's in here, but, I'm assuming that's like a T&M not to exceed. Other than your being on site and knowing what's going down, what would be our benefits?
If we were to observe something that was non-compliant, if So let's say the highway department comes out and they witness the approval of the subgrade. And they leave, and it all checks out and they leave. And it rains for the next week. And the contractor decides to go the first dry day after it rains to put stone down, and things are squishing and moving all over the place. By having somebody out there to take a look at it, they'd have the ability to say, hey, hold the phone. The subgrade is just too saturated for you to be able to build your project. I'm not suggesting that that would happen, but that would be an example of
Right.
something that could occur. Another would be sometimes projects are crunched. They're trying to get stuff in before the plant closes. We get a 30-degree day and they want to pave on a 30-degree day when the ground is cold. It's really hard for asphalt to reach its maximum strength when it's placed on top of those cold ground temperatures. So we'd have the ability to monitor that, make an option, say, hey, the town's not gonna accept this roadway if you put this asphalt down. That, it would be little things like that.
Okay. Is the reason that we're thinking that this would be a good idea because of the horrible substrate that's out there? I mean, is that, I know that there's a lot of issues subsurface out there.
Yep.
And is that part of the reason this was brought up?
Why is this
I
brought
don't-
up?
It was a topic of conversation. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, I can tell you from past experience that this is more of an insurance policy. Because at the end of 5 years, when Marcario's place is done and it's up and running and all the houses are in there, in 5 years, we take control of those streets. It automatically gets dumped on us, the streets and the sidewalks. So it's important that we have a little bit of an insurance policy that we don't end up with a Ridgecrest Drive. Okay.
So did we ask for this?
Did someone up here ask for this?
I asked for, well, I brought it to you.
If you asked for it,
six-
I'm okay with it.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah.
I
was
just
it like
wanted, I didn't know
6
how this
weeks
originated.
ago?
Yeah.
I'm in the
Well,
same boat.
generally,
It was like
what
a-
we've done in Leo-Cedarville, we went ahead and we did have a little oversight by ERI on the streets. We didn't on the others. Huh?
I said my question's answered.
Okay.
And I agree, it is
Good
an
enough,
insurance
good
policy.
enough. So it is an insurance
Yeah, I
policy.
totally agree. I just couldn't wrap my head around
Why
why we're looking at it.
Yeah.
And if she asked for it, I'm good with looking at it. I got no issue at all there.
So does this cover more than just the streets? This covers,
Just the streets, and then anything they may observe while they're out there, but the county surveyor's office is providing oversight of the construction of the storm sewer. The regional sewer district is watching both the water and the sewer drilling. So, and all that work will have been completed before they start building the roadways.
Do you,
And they actually, the sewer district uses an engineering firm as well.
That's a good point.
And I can also tell you to back up the point he just made about observation of other things. We had, on phase 2 of Leo-Cedarville, we had over 13 punch list items that we had to have them fill before we moved to sign the third section, okay? Or no, it was the first section to move to the second section, that's what it was. And a lot of it had to do with the storm sewers getting filled in with mud and silt. If you remember right, you and I went
Yeah, I
out there
remember
and
that
looked,
one.
yeah. And there was several other things that Byron caught out there when they were doing stuff like that. So it is important, and they just don't, I mean, Byron goes over the top, I mean, when he's on a site, so.
is there like, do you guys, I don't have a clue what you do, so help me. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. Do you like go out in the mornings, do you just like spontaneously pop in, or like after rain, obviously it'd be a great time?
Yeah, I would say,
weather.
I'm sorry, but normally, from what I understood from dealing with this before, they knew the schedules from the general, and when certain things are gonna be done, and they're there when those things are done, correct?
that's correct. And there's probably one added layer in that we have the phone number of the superintendent who's scheduling the work out there, because schedules are usually something that,
They don't always
they're a
work.
general guideline of what may or may not be
Right.
happening. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's-
They don't
All right,
always.
so
Let me interject.
is this the agreement that goes with this proposal?
Is that his agreement, or?
Yeah, I just want to make sure,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
because
think
the
so.
total amount in here is like like 3 times or 4 times the amount I see at the bottom.
Something.
He needs a new car.
There shouldn't be any amount in the agreement. It should reference the.
There is a total not to exceed.
$13,246.
No, this one here's 50,000.
Oh, what is that? No, it's 13.
I got 13,246.
Yeah,
Give me a
That's what
second.
I have.
Just write this.
Yeah.
and then the last page.
No, this is something else. This is the actual,
The
Okay, so
agreement?
somewhere in the agreement, it talks
Yeah,
about.
it says-
Four,
page 4K,
letter K.
shall not exceed.
Oh.
Hit a K.
And I'm like, I'll be honest, this one doesn't concern me. When I saw this, it concerned me.
Yeah, let's,
You got it, Kay?
they're not gonna be out there in the next 2
The
weeks.
total
right now.
liability in the aggregate.
I mean, if you just wanna cross that out and write in
Not exceed-
13,000.
Oh, yeah, no, I
So,
didn't catch
like,
that.
that's why I was like, I was panicking and I was like, what do we?
Oh, no, that's the limit of liability.
Well, I was gonna
That's
say,
not the
that's,
fee
this
amount.
is in the insurance.
Yes, it's notwithstanding any other provisions of this agreement to the full extent permitted by law, the total liability
Ability,
in
okay,
aggregate
okay.
of the, yeah.
I read it and I was like, I guess I didn't read that part, but I was like,
Oh,
not to
yeah,
exceed
this
the
is
way.
under the insurance.
Yeah, that's just limited.
Okay, 'cause I was like, that's what was concerning me, sorry. I was like, started reading it, I was like,
I seen the 50, I just said,
Yeah.
oh boy.
that's why I was like, what's
Waiting
going on?
outside.
The dollars in this front part.
Okay,
page.
so, yeah.
Is there anything else after K? Because I only have up to J.
Yeah, I don't have
You
any,
don't know your alphabet after that, or?
No.
No, I'm
Oh.
done after J.
I don't have page 4.
You're welcome to have.
I mean, I don't care. I don't have.
That's, I got, so all I got is J too. I got the same thing, so that's probably it.
Yeah, what did I got?
So,
So it's an insurance.
Yeah, okay.
and,
Okay.
when is it
I have help
projected,
with
is, I guess, for Tanner or you, to be done? Like,
With Vicarious Place?
like just ready for a house to start to go in? I know I've heard,
I'm not sure what their schedule is out there. I would imagine this fall, they'll be coming in with a secondary plat for signature.
Last time I talked to him, he said,
That's what he told me too.
well, what's fall? I know.
September, October.
Yeah, so when I saw that not to exceed, I was like, oh, fall is different.
That's not
It'll probably take them.
So we probably got another 3 to 4 months out there, you think?
Yep.
But it,
I agree, I mean, there's a big amount of dirt out
this is
there.
the actual number they're looking for.
15, yeah,
I don't think
240, 420, whatever it is.
So,
No.
So they got 3,
Like I said
maybe
this
4
morning.
months to go out there, yeah.
before, to finish.
Yeah.
So, first of all, my first question is do we have a line item where this would come from?
Well, that's the solid
Yeah, we
question.
looked at,
Jeez.
we were looking at MVH funds, or I think you said local road and street.
Yeah, MVH and LRS was enough to cover it.
Was that what you were suggesting?
There's engineering in both of those funds.
We have plenty in both.
In both to cover it? Okay. With that being answered, where we want to go?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
that's our question.
is anybody ready to entertain a motion on this?
Maker.
Okay, good enough. I just didn't want to step on anybody's toes.
We can make a
Oh,
motion.
quiet, I mean, something's gotta happen.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion that we enter into an agreement with ERI for the total sum of $13,000,
That was a not to exceed fund.
not to
number,
exceed, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, not to exceed.
246.
246, yeah, I can't find that
I
page.
know, I seen it on his.
I just had it.
Yeah, you got it in your hand there already.
Oh, here it is, $13,246.
So we got a motion on the floor to not to exceed the 13,246. Is there a
For
second?
inspection work on streets.
At Marcarios. Is there any other?
How's that, Mr. Mangus? Is that good? You're doing well. Thank you, sir.
Got a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
Brian seconds. Any further discussion? Do roll call vote. Greg,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Andy,
Nah.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well.
Andrew, were you a yes or a
I
no?
was in A, no.
Okay.
4-1.
I like yes and no better.
No.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Stormwater budget.
I met with Larry, the president of Stormwater Board, and we were kind of going through the last couple of years of expenditures versus their revenue, and just looking at where they're at. He had some questions regarding why the expenditures are continuously going up every year. 2022, they ended the year $11,203 under or over budget. 2023, they were $13,574 over, and so as of right now, we're on track probably to be over again this year. So their revenue is less than their expenditures, basically. And so it's been that way for the last 2 years, and it looks like it would be a third year this year. The significant portion of it is the payroll, just the way the allocations are set up. He had some questions regarding the percentages that are based off of it. So for example, 13% of tennis pay goes to stormwater, 5% of my pay comes out of stormwater, 14% of Brent's pay is out of stormwater, and 9% of Chris's pay comes out of stormwater. So when looking at the maintenance allocation sheets that the guys fill out, basing their time, like they fill out a sheet saying I spent 2 hours doing this, an hour doing that, etc. There's only, from 11 of 2023 to date, there's only been 4.5 hours of stormwater logged on those sheets. So it's, that's the first question he had. The second question is it time to raise the rates? The rates haven't been raised in 5 years. They've been $75.60 per household for almost 5 years. So that's all I got.
So, obviously, I'm assuming you didn't set the distributions up, so there's no history to that unless Greg can offer something
Not that I could find either.
Greg, can you offer something?
on why they were broke out the way they were originally.
Well, my memory is a little foggy on this one, I'll be upfront with you. Because we had 2 or 3 or 4 different things going on with storm sewer in the last 9, 10 years. Part of it was we changed the billing, we did this, we did that. If I'm trying to remember correctly, it was, am I too slow for you, Scott?
No, I just added the percentages up. This is confusing me.
I'm thinking that it had a lot to do with the direction of the money, and I don't know why, to be honest with you, I can't remember.
I tried to research, but I
So-
couldn't find any discussions in town council meetings about it.
That's all right. I mean, we got, it is what it is. Now we
Right.
can just deal with
Usually
it.
fairly well on that stuff, but I cannot remember for some reason why we did it.
Does the parks do the same thing as this
So some of our pay comes out of parks as well,
for,
all of us.
And that too should be, we talked about this before privately amongst a few of us here. That needs to be looked at, because I'll bet you if we summed up how much time he spends over at the park or the new guy, there's a lot more time being spent in the parks than there are in the town.
yeah, and that, I agree 100%. I mean, they look stellar. I'm not even questioning that.
No,
But we had a part-time employee for a while, I can't remember, it's like 15 hours a week, and they did the cleanup, they did the drain the water, the end of it, because it would clog, and take care of the restrooms at a fraction of the rate of our maintenance guys. Our maintenance guys are more specialty guys, but they're over there doing all that. I just don't think that's good use of our money or our manpower. Not that they can't help, but, I mean, I went for a walk on Monday morning, and down by one of the little fishing holes on the far end, the amount of bottles and just stuff left there.
oh, really?
Oh my gosh. Brent, can you speak to that? It's,
Picnic tables, chairs, you're right.
and if I see that family again, I will stop and talk to them. I'm looking forward to it.
We have an ordinance for that, don't we?
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I just think that we should maybe talk to Parks and maybe getting a part-time person in the summer, or, I don't know.
They do
We
have
have
somebody.
one part-time person, which is Don, but
Don.
he is specifically at Cedarville.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
Cedarville.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's fine, because like in the winter, then he just doesn't work, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Well, this person, I think she worked year-round, but I mean, we're talking
Minimum.
very minimal
Well-
hours.
So I guess my question, back to this, is 13% for Tenna, and I'm assuming, I guess I don't understand,
That's the number.
right, but I don't understand like, what, like, I would see,
I can speak to some of this.
okay, go ahead.
So some of what I serve as staff essentially for them. I prepare their agendas and she does their minutes. So we do contribute something to their meetings. Whenever they have projects, or there's like certainly 2 projects right now that we know over on Riverdale and Garrick where there's
Right.
broken drains and our people are getting flooded. We inspect those, we check them, we put them on the agenda, we get the quotes and prepare that information for the board. So I can see why we have some, you to do their billing. So we do have some responsibility toward them. We are spending a good amount of time, Brent and I, right now, preparing for item audit. We've already had 2 meetings with Allen County for this, and each one of those took several hours. So I don't know if that reporting has gone on these current time cards yet, but there's 2 hours right there just with item prep. Plus we had inspection prep, and the inspection got changed, so now it's next week? It's next week, our inspection. So we'll both have to be there. So we do stuff for stormwater, because that's maintaining our MS4 permit with Allen County. There's a little more to stormwater than just sitting in a meeting and having the guys approve vouchers.
Well, I also think that's just part of being a town manager, and then we should
Right.
pay you that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it.
Oh, you're saying it, instead of being it come out of here?
Well, my question is
Yes.
are you doing 13% of your weekly job or your
Oh, no.
yearly job? Because I mean, that's essentially what we're saying here,
I
right?
think that's just
13% of
part
your time.
We should just cover that.
It might be 5 to 10% each week.
So I think that's what they're getting at is, Brent, even if he does all this work, is his overall year 14% spit of that on stormwater?
I could say we could use another person in the parks because we're not doing near enough for our stormwater inspections.
See, that's,
So
And-
we do
Back to
need
the
to
park,
gear up that way.
Are we still setting on 2 people that I tried to allocate years ago before you 2 showed up? And it was like $30,000 that I,
well, if they were here, they wouldn't know.
well, she.
Are they in the budget?
They
I
are
think that's what he's asking. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
There is some, I know there is some room
I
in the
know
budget
you
to get some.
remember.
Yes.
I know Don would like more hours, and we would love to have him put
And
in
he has
more
stepped
time.
up some extra hours down as he quit his other job, so he is, Janet's kind of took him under his rein, let, him be down in Cedarville, and he helps us over
But
at Riverside.
Is he moving to Riverside? I guess
Yes,
that's,
he's pretty much staying in the parks.
okay.
Well, and good. I mean, if he's happy, then
So,
maybe.
I guess my question is if you do everything you're supposed to do stormwater, is 14% accurate?
That, I'm not.
Roughly.
It probably could be.
Okay.
Well,
If we were really
So then
checking
we're-
all this stuff, we should be checking all the time.
If the rest of these numbers are fairly accurate, then we're back to raising the rates is the only way we're going to increase our revenue.
Well, I still firmly believe that 13% for her should not be on there. We need to have a parks person. I mean, to me, she's a town manager. It's a catch-all,
All right.
not.
Yeah, but I mean, you still break that percentage out, and each department carries their load. I don't know if it needs to be 13%, but it probably needs to be at least 5 to
I
7%.
feel 5% low for her if she does all.
Well,
that.
that's the other side of it.
Yeah,
is I
you know,
think
so-
I think the 13 and 5 need to be somehow combined
Or swapped.
or equaled out. You know what I mean? Let's say it's.
Well, that probably wouldn't change much.
No,
It won't change
no.
much for them, but it will change where your allocations come from. And then I think if we can get these guys back on the stormwater, but we're still back to raising the rates.
You just don't like that, hear that.
I know, but
Do you have a thought on this?
Rates haven't been changed in 5 years, and in the last 5 years, a lot's happened. I mean, prices have doubled on everything. So, I mean, the total cost, I mean, the total expenditures isn't just payroll. I mean, they do have to pay for engineer services, they do pay for repairs, they do have other costs besides payroll, it's just payroll's their biggest, it's the biggest contributor to their expenditures every year.
And it is
And
for
I hate
most
to say- I hate to
businesses.
say, I mean, I don't wanna be the person that says it, like.
I
seriously,
will.
don't
I
throw
think
it
it's
on me.
ridiculous that if they haven't been raised in 5 years, which is what happened in our economy, then they should have followed at least the 3 or 4% like everything has.
I mean, like right now, the prime example of the
I agree.
stormwater meeting, that we just had was this Garrick job could be what, Garrick? You said upwards of 300,000 if we did it, the whole thing?
Yeah, we did a replacement of what's there.
Right.
I think we have,
Worst case scenario.
yeah, I think we have a solution that's less than that, but yeah, it could be potentially.
Depends what route we have to go, right?
But we don't have that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of those bills do we,
Are there grants out there for it?
Well, we're hoping, I mean, if, we're moving down this path right now of exploring what's wrong over there, and then we'll know if we need to seek funding,
So
or if we've
wouldn't it
got.
be smart though, wouldn't it be smart though to be advantageous to look and see if you can find some grants that for, you know, larger amounts, that you got a headwater there, you think you're gonna have somewhere at the peak of 300,000, so look for some grants and have it all lined up in case, because you know, if there's a problem, correct, it needs corrected.
Yeah, the only grant that I'm aware of, and I'm not a grant writing person, but would be,
Unfortunately, we
low
got one
road
now.
would be low to moderate income, so it would require income study, and I don't.
I
know
don't,
that
we
area.
can't possibly
Expected this
qualify
year
for
based on,
LMI.
taxes is
I'm sorry to say,
130,400.
but
It's fine for
there might be,
sanitary sewer and water, but storms always been there.
there might be other
We're having,
ways.
yeah, we're kind of branched out here,
Raise the rates.
so, okay.
You could always bond it, but you'd have to have the revenue to be able to.
So what do we want to do about
So-
rates then?
So I guess the first question is, how do we go about raising the rates? I've never, obviously,
well,
there's at least 3 of us have never done this, so I'm assuming that it doesn't take effect tomorrow.
No.
I'm assuming it's a year out, so whatever we do
Right.
Did you
this
agree?
year during budget cycle will not take effect till January or July of next year.
Don't we have to do
It would be
variances?
January, because my assessments, my stormwater assessments are due by mid-December because it applies for the next year.
Tim?
I don't know the statute on raising stormwater rates, but I presume that there's a process that you have to follow, that
Mhm.
include a public hearing and let people weigh in on it
Right.
and all that. I don't know what that
Right.
is, but I bet you there's some.
how many,
There's probably a rate study
Yeah.
as well.
how many
They can
bills do
talk-
we
decide
send
what you
out?
need.
Do you know roughly?
We don't,
We
and it's
don't.
all included on your property
It's on your
tax.
property
I know,
tax.
and property taxes went through the roof this year. And, you know, they're still blaming the fire district, but if people look at assessed last year and assessed this year, they'll see that's not the case.
If I have this straight, it starts right there, she needs to figure out what we need to raise the rates to meet the goals
Well,
that we are looking for achieving, and then we start talking about it at meetings, we set up public meetings, they start drawing stuff up, and we okey dokey it. I mean, it's a process, but it's not that difficult.
No,
Is
I'm
it-
just.
no,
I
it's
just
not,
wanted
but
to-
It
so-
starts with
there,
our
and I'm assuming, like they
treasurer
said, it's
telling
probably
us the
gonna-
numbers, crunching them.
Okay. And then I'm
is
assuming
it
there's a rate
just
study.
Leo-Cedarville?
It's just in-town residents.
Yeah.
So we roughly have 1,300, and if you raised it roughly $15 per household, that'll bring in around 19,500 extra dollars.
She said our revenue per year is what?
Estimated revenue for this year, based off of my assessment that I turned in, will be $130,487.
So it's roughly
per
$1,000.
gallon
I know.
with our
That
water
doesn't make sense to what
and our
we used to
garbage.
pay.
Yeah, that math.
Or not
Wait
our
a minute.
garbage, it
So-
was, it was storm sewer and it was garbage at one time.
Is that rate a monthly rate or quarterly?
7560 is a yearly rate.
Yeah, those numbers ain't working for me.
How are we raising 130,000?
Because the businesses are charged a different rate.
Oh.
Yes.
So each business
Oh.
has a, sorry Greg. Each
That's a-
business
I
was like,
has a
wait a
different
minute.
percentage.
That's a
for
giant
each.
number.
Charge the water company some more.
That the businesses are charged
Yes, it's a significant more number for the
versus the
businesses.
resident.
Okay.
Okay,
So.
that's why the
What
numbers
is
were giant.
significant? Is it
Yes.
flat for any
I'll show you
business
my
or is
taxes.
it?
No, and I haven't
Depends on
found
the
the history to
square
figure out what
footage.
it's based on. Do you know what it's based on?
Probably
Each
square footage of
business?
property.
Square footage.
Square
That's what-
footage of hard surface area.
Yeah.
I think so.
I was gonna say, cause it's,
Rooftops, parking lots.
Usage.
Still, that's a big swing. They must pay a lot.
sorry. Sorry, Greg.
Very good.
So, we probably need to do about a 15% increase.
That's what I was thinking, between 15 and 20.
Well, based off that
I don't
number,
know why we're
15
so
would take it up close to 20,000, which would give a little buffer, but we'll blow by it in 2 or 3 years, I'm sure. But it's a start.
I mean, sewer goes up every year, goes up every 6 months, actually, you know, and, I hear about that all the time. And, this hasn't been raised in 5 years. My guess is that, you know, it is what it is, and it's
I
just
guess-
one of those things.
Talk to them and get a plan
Figure out what the
together.
plan is for.
Yeah,
We're open
I
to
would
it.
most likely probably want to enlist Baker Tilly because they are best known for doing all the rate studies for the state, so.
sounds good. And it
They're gonna be
would
way
be,
over than this year.
Hmm?
They're gonna be way over than this year. I've seen their
well,
bills.
but if we have a study, it helps make it fair as well.
Yes, it
And
does.
we-
I don't
And we want to
disagree.
be fair.
So, all right.
What would it cost to do a study like that?
I'll have to ask, I don't know.
And if, yeah, that's a good question, because if it is expensive, I mean, we can just work off a percentage and get it covered and
Well, but
have
I
guarantee
bet
it
you
won't
for
be
the
less than 10.
hearing, we gotta have a rate.
Yeah.
I'll find
Huh?
I guarantee it won't be less than
15%.
10.
I had a number in my mind that's significantly more than
I
that.
think,
Because
I think we ought to look at percentages to start with maybe, and then get a quote to see which way we want to go. And I'm thinking that 15%'s,
You can catch up.
it'll just give us enough.
Well, we gotta comply with the law, that's my point.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So
no,
if
I
the law
agree.
requires a rate study, we're stuck paying
Yep,
the
I agree.
15,000 that's gonna cost us.
It's investigation first, and we have, I've seen that email budget starting, so let's just add
I
that
have
up.
3 budget reports to do June 30th, so.
See, that's what I mean, so there's just a lot of moving pieces for you.
Yep.
Lucky you.
Alright. We have anything else on the stormwater? Anything else?
Just maybe if someone, one of you guys, I think I talked to you about it, it'd be nice if one of you guys came to 1 or 2 of the meetings.
When are
Wednesday mornings,
7:30.
Oh, if I can, I
A
can
week
make
from
those.
tomorrow.
Yeah, mornings are my thing.
I bet you he comes once. And then put him out.
I said, it's gotta be in my calendar.
It's got a right answer too.
If it's not in my calendar, I will not be here.
So, fire district guys, before you have a letter from Kiefer Business Services. I will not read it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory from what I've read.
It was this thing. You had it.
You should have a copy.
No, I meant the next, I looked at
Oh, a week
this.
from tomorrow is stormwater.
Yeah, thank you.
June 12th. This is an update from Cedar Creek Township. And they said this is what their people who are auditing their books have figured out. I do have the actual internal revenue statements here for us to read. I did not, they're 12 pages, and in lieu of destroying a bunch of paper and wasting, we just printed out a couple copies that you guys can take a look at. If you guys want it in digital form, I can email it to you. I do have that.
I want paper copy, please.
So it should be the same thing twice, Greg.
Thank you.
The long and the short of it is that it appears that the 941s were filed in, I believe 2020. They paid in, but because in subsequent years the 941s were not filed correctly, the Internal Revenue Service sees it as a credit on the account until all errors on the 941s are corrected. They didn't say this is what's holding up the money getting transferred, but obviously it's probably one of the steps it is. But that's the update that they wanted us to give. So, and that is, like I said, that'd be what, 2020, I think it's 2020 was filed correctly, or 2021 was, and then 22 and 23, and then we're not. So, there will be penalties for it. I do not know what those are. Although they've had a credit set there this whole time, so I don't know how all that works. So
basically,
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, every quarter, because I have to do the same thing for the town, every quarter, the internal revenue, the IRS, the Fed taxes that we take out, you have to file a 941 report as well as pay your 941 taxes to the Internal Revenue Service. So when you make that payment of, let's say it's $3,000 for quarter one, your 941 report should match $3,000 exactly, and it should have your breakdowns in it. So basically, all they're saying is they paid,
Right.
but the reports that were filed either weren't received or were incorrect and haven't been corrected. So typically, you get notice from the IRS that we received your 941, however, here's what's wrong, here's what needs corrected, and you typically review them and just send them back in and they fix it. But you'll get a credit notice that says we've credited your account until we receive your corrected 941.
So that's what they found out of the full. From my understanding, this is the only thing that they found up to date on that's wrong within the books.
So it looks like they're missing quarter 4, quarter 1, missing quarter 2.
They are definitely missing the last quarter of 2023. And most of us know the story behind that. And then, but other than that,
Looks like they're
there's
missing.
errors throughout. So I don't know if they're missing. I just think they probably had errors on them that were not rectified. So that's the update I have to the fire district. They had a good meeting here the other night again. It was last Tuesday, is that right? The next one will be here June 24. Let me make sure.
We'll put it on the calendar this time, so I remember to set it up.
June 24th at
Yep.
6 p.m.
June 24th at
Except
6
I
p.m.
won't be here.
So, which I'll be in
Set
town.
that up.
I'll be in town.
I'll be
I mean,
here. He'll be here.
I'll be here.
I won't miss him.
So it is, there's a lot of good information. If you get a chance to come out of it, we don't have anything necessarily to speak to in the town other than this last time we did present them the 2 agreements that we had signed off our excess equipment and then the resolution to move it to them. We presented that to them. So I expect them to take action on that at the next meeting. In fact, I told them they have to take action on it at the next meeting because I want it off our books before July 1. So, that meeting is the 24th at 6 p.m. here. So you guys can come, we don't talk about it as a town, it has nothing to do with us. It's more of us just sitting in the audience listening and being present and hearing the interactions that are going on. So, any other questions? Like I said, that's what I have as of right now. St. Joseph, we already took care of the mileage reimbursement situation. St. Joseph River Watershed went ahead and decided to put our name. I just spoke with Tina. There's no cost associated with it. There's nothing in it besides the fact that it gives a bigger service area, a bigger dollar amount that they take, that is incorporated if and when they go to get money to take care of something in the watershed area. So other than our name, logo being on the paperwork and our name being on the paperwork, that's at this point, that's all there is. There's no cost involved for us. So we went ahead and thought it might be a good idea. Hopefully it brings some dollar revenue our way
In the long run.
in the long run. So
Yeah, and what they're doing, just quick synopsis, is that Allen County is applying for the through the St. Joseph Watershed Initiative to update the watershed plan for the St. Joe River. And they they are applying for the grant to do their update, like we're doing our comprehensive plan, they need to update this watershed plan every so many years. And we're just, our name is just on there saying we are in support of their grant application. If they get the money and start updating, we'll be invited to meetings if we want to attend and hear what their plans are or what they want to do for improving water quality, making sure that there's educational outreach about water quality and stuff like that, to keep the rivers cleaner.
Well, they need to do something. They're draining it left and right up here. I mean, it's dropping 2 or 3 foot one day, a foot higher than normal the next. We've called down there like crazy. I mean, it is never fluctuated. I've been on the river 17, 18 years, never seen this.
Not only that, but we need to voice our concerns. We need to have a voice in this and our concerns about what's happening to our watershed areas, you know, that everybody in this room knows about, that you can actually, now when I was a kid, you couldn't walk across them without, you know, having water over your head. Now you can stand there and watch geese stand there in mud puddles. It's like, it's filled in so bad, and I know it's from, you know, the building, and it's from all of that, and it's the runoff, and it's the silt, but it still needs to be addressed and handled somehow through the Army Corps of Engineers, and maybe this is a way of getting a good voice out.
Well, a lot of it, really, I mean, I think his name was Gerke, the guy that used to live up here, and he handled it. And if they were gonna drain it or do something, he would go door to door to everybody up here. Then he retired. When he retired, it would fluctuate maybe 4, 6 inches ever. I mean, just minimal, even with rain, it was steady, you know, at the level it needed to be. When he retired, it has not been level. It has been fluctuating, always a foot to foot and a half. And this year, I mean, we're 2 to 3 foot down.
We have the contact for our other situation that was handled in the park board. Can we,
Yeah, I have that person.
reach out, touch base with them, and maybe get a meeting amongst a couple of these guys that are
I would
concerned?
love to be on that. And also, when I talk to them, they're really nice. I mean, they're very nice. Last fall, I talked to one of the maintenance workers down there. He's a really nice guy. He actually lives in Leo, supports us. But he was like, well, the drinking water, remember that down there, the problem with that?
Which we have that going on right now.
Yep, and so what they do, they drain the reservoir. Why do they drain the reservoir for drinking water when they have the Hirschtown Reservoir that was built for water backup for Fort Wayne City? So I asked that question. He said, well, we talked about it and we don't want to open it. Well, drain that reservoir first. And so I called him again because he gave me his personal number, real nice guy. And he's like, you got to call 311. I'm not allowed to be involved. So 311's been called by river residents, I would say at least 10 to 12 times, and it's, sorry. No.
There's a new contact for from my understanding, he's in charge of the reservoir,
The dam.
the dam, and this is a city rep, so pretty high up.
Well, is he living in Angola?
I have no idea. So, but he's been responsive to the park department's problem.
Well,
so.
they're all, yeah.
So-
Let's talk to them, but they're all
Start
nice. I mean, and they give me explanations if you like them or not.
Right. So that's what that is. Town manager's report.
Unfortunately, I had to report to you that both of our construction projects are delayed by utility relocations. And as soon as those utilities are moved, they will be able to resume construction. In the Amstutz Road case, they'll be starting construction. In Cedar Creek Trail, they'll return to do construction.
Is there anything we can do?
No, we're all trying to pull strings and make calls and
Derek, this could be a good
No.
opportunity for you to shine.
Oh, well, we're calling 2 to 3 times a week.
A day, you meant?
pressuring without trying to be.
The school suggested that they might try it themselves. I don't know if anybody happens to have a relationship in Baseline or Frontier.
I made a phone call tonight.
Oh, baseline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but when I talk to them,
Okay.
uh,
Let's say, no, wait a minute, what?
they're pointing a finger
Thanks.
at the pole company. And they're reversing it, so.
Which, and that is one of the issues, and now that they're on site, there's not anything we can do to hurry it, but they are at least on site now. That's,
So here's the
A
nice part,
relief.
it appears the south end of Amstutz Road is done. The bad part is we need the north end done.
right, and that has to do with
Thanks, thanks.
needing people to pull the lines. The guys who did this end were a different level than they need to use on the new poles, the taller poles.
So they can't reverse the process here as far as where they start, correct?
The key is
No,
it's
we
gotta
didn't
be done
have
in front of the high school.
Right,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be done before.
But we
they
can't
go
have
back.
both ends tore up at the same time.
And
So,
they can't, they still have to have the poles by the high school moved before they can run lines, so we can't.
Well, wait on
And the other
poles.
one,
They're waiting on
the
poles.
south end can't jump to the north because of other constrictions like
Everything underground. says
walls and,
Poles first, before we even touch it.
so the west side of the road is complete up to the intersection, which is where the baseline frontier cobbled up
oh, you
mess.
mean utility,
Utility wise, on the west side is taken care of.
most,
The east side has two utilities on the pole, and then one that's on the pole now is gonna go in the ground, I believe, is that?
I don't know that detail.
I do.
From,
It's-
that's pretty,
yeah.
pretty accurate, I think, from, but the one that's going in the ground won't go until the poles are in the ground, and the two that are on the pole obviously can't move their lines until AEP's out of the way, so we're really waiting on the poles.
This is a perfect example of what we went through years ago with meeting with the county about getting notified when people come into your town and start drilling. And we knew this was gonna happen. You and I talked about this several times. We knew this was gonna
Well,
happen.
we don't control our own right of way, that's our problem.
That's what we're talking about.
Right.
We met with Bill and other people. Well, you didn't meet with me the second time. I met with them. And it was like, it was like pulling teeth. You're not gonna, they don't have the manpower, they said, to notify our office that people are coming in and drilling.
Well, if
And
we,
this is the problem, because I told them, we got trails going in and we got the widening of Amstutz Road, we're already doing, I mean, this could all be alleviated just by a simple email saying, hey, baseline is filed for a permit to do this, or Q Communications or whoever. And we could have contacted them and said, hey, wait a minute, we got a project going on, don't put it in this part of the right of way, move it. Remember? Yeah, and this is,
we have no say.
the only way we can do it is if we bring the right of way permits in-house.
Right, and
Right now, right of way
and-
permits are handled through the
And we
county.
can't back up now because
No.
it doesn't change where we're at this
No,
moment.
no.
Not in this situation, but it would going forward for any new vendor. Is it worth exploring bringing the right of way permitting in-house to control our own destiny in that area?
well, if you do that, you're looking at a Pandora's box, because that's what we talked about this.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a very time consuming proposition.
Okay.
Right now, the county's handling it, obviously, at no cost, but that's the trade-off.
Right.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah. that's-
But it's still, all it is an email, but
Yeah,
they don't, they tell us they don't have the manpower to do that.
it would be nice if they could say, do you have any projects coming in this stretch?
Right.
So that we could say
Well,
yes or no, and at least be a step ahead. I agree with that, but I don't know if we have the capacity to take over that much, that depth of permitting, that level of, just, these companies are everywhere all the time now.
Right. All right.
Yeah, and tracking what's already under there, you know what I mean?
All right.
So anyway, that was my report on the two projects. We are doing everything we can to move them forward as quickly as we can. Trying to meet and renegotiate schedules. We're meeting with the schools, talking about the best way to do drop off and pick up times, because we are gonna overlap the beginning of the school year, but we are trying not to overlap football, which is gonna be tough. But we're trying. We are negotiating as best we can. Just a few other highlights. There's a new radar speed sign on State Road 1. It's just the one that you signed the interlocal agreement with NDOT to put in. It was installed yesterday, or completely installed yesterday. So that's up. And I don't know, I wanted to let you know, there's a theme at the farmer's market this week if you're all gonna come down. It's Hawaiian theme night, so there'll be kind of a little bit of festivities there, a little summer fun. You made a comment about code enforcement. I just want to let you know, at this point, the way I was trained here was that code enforcement is complaint driven, and that I was not expected to go up and down streets every day looking for problems, but when I get complaints, I'm to pursue them quickly. And that is what I've been doing. So if I didn't notice somebody's tall grass until I got a complaint, it's because I'm not actually.
No, you're right. I just want to
Actively
know
looking.
about some of the complaints.
But if you see them suddenly get cleaned up out of nowhere, it's probably because I sent a letter.
Clearly.
And there's a few people Tim knows that I am being very difficult with. I am checking them like Mondays and Thursdays every single week and riding their case, just pushing it. And I have some new signs. I don't know if you've seen one yet. You've seen it. It's across the street, but they are abatement signs that say, this house is in violation and it's a continuous abatement thing. And I can write the address on there and they're wipe off and mark, it's for junk or it's for weeds or whatever.
That's the kind of stuff I like.
It goes in their yard and then we just arrange for it to be mowed, but pretty much every time it's gone in a yard, they've mowed like right away.
Nice.
And try to take it out, so we are trying to be more aggressive. But,
I'm not saying you're not.
no, that's
Yeah, I'd
just
like
letting
to-
you know, and people listening, if they're listening, we are being more aggressive on code if we can. There is a Pandora's box in that too, the big can of worms where, if I tell somebody who has a broken down vehicle in their driveway that they need to move it, it opens up how many others in town have vacant, have vehicles that are down, and do I have to go after every single one? Technically, yes, and that's where you get into some issues, so that's why I tend to be complaint driven and not
Yeah, and I agree with you on vehicles. I
going
think
down that path.
if they're plated, correct, current year.
But it's a tough one,
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
But I see a lot of them now are pushing them somewhere and the plate is against a fence or something.
Yeah. And then the last note, if you don't have any questions on those things, I am taking a short vacation. As I mentioned to Tyler, I'm not taking any whole weeks. I'm still feeling like I should be here every week and be able to check in at work. So I am taking a long weekend. So I'll be gone the 20th, 21st, and that Monday, the 24th. But that puts me in the office each week.
So then the 20,
The 20th, it's like a Thursday through Monday.
yeah, I don't. Great, good for you. I'm just more concerned of the 24th then.
That's just a one-day overlap between us.
Yeah. So that
Janet
would
will
be
be
just
here.
Janet?
Yes.
And what, that's a Monday?
She's done it before.
Yeah.
Yep.
And her normal hours are pretty close to business hours, so that shouldn't be a huge deal. The door should be unlocked. And
Yep. Do you have any
I
questions for
might just
me?
arrange to work from home that day too.
I had one question on point 4 you didn't talk about, it was the comprehensive plan update. I know you guys had the steering committee meeting on the 30th, Thursday. Kind of bad date to have as considering we have the farmer's market. We have some small business owners that are probably on the steering committee and they weren't able to attend.
we've moved it.
Did you?
It is now on
Monday.
the Monday, July
24th.
24th?
25th?
20, whatever that Monday is.
So they didn't have it the 30th?
We did have the 30th, but going forward, we've moved it off at the end of the week because we've had some business
Issues.
owners that have voiced concerns about doing it that day, so.
Wasn't me.
What?
I haven't added it to my calendar yet, but I think it was the 22nd, July 22nd, does that sound right?
I was thinking it was the 25th.
I thought it was.
I don't have a clue.
That's Tyler. Opened the wrong email.
Oh, no, I'm off.
Yep.
It's the 15th.
The 15th, sorry.
It's the 5.
And those are all town citizens, I'm assuming?
So within the town or people who are on the fringe of the town, so we like, Sharp is on it as the foundation. They all have a tie or a cross tie to the town, or the actions within the town, so business owners, that kind of stuff. So there is, I think there's one guy that lives literally right across the street, just outside on
He's
Halter.
on Halter. Yeah.
But everybody else, I think, is within the town. And part of that is that we're trying to get a broad scope of people who are within the town and also who frequent the town, and that perspective helps, so.
There will be multiple open house events, so where we ask the whole community to, well, of course, they won't all come, but as many people as possible to come. We'll have the survey thing. And there's also at least one event, I think they're gonna do it at Bloomfest, where the consultants will have like a booth, and they'll be trying to poll people and get input from people at those events. And of course, some of that's gonna be out of towners, but that gives us an insight of what other people think of this community and maybe what we might want to, embrace. Like, why do you come here? What do you like about this community? And we can use that data too. So we're kind of think the consultants are looking for this broad picture.
The Indiana Housing Summit was the last 2 days, and they have so much data. It's Fort Wayne, but it's not like we're far from Fort Wayne. The data was mind-blowing of what people wanted.
So, and as part of this, the steering committee is really kind of keeping the ball rolling, I guess, per se, helping to form some of this, the general direction kind of stuff and the general data behind the scenes. But I think from what I've gathered, meeting with Amber and Amy, is that the real hard collection comes with the one-on-ones with us, the stakeholder groups, the small groups that are business owners. What do you want to see? The new residents to the area, what do they want to see? What attracted them here? What didn't?
That's what this is.
Right.
Would you like that data if I can get it?
100%. I think everything we can send to them, data-wise, only makes our plan more robust.
Because they surveyed a large amount of, I don't even know them all, Gen Z, X, Millennial, I don't even know all those. And several questions, I sent you some
Yeah, I
today.
saw them.
And, it was very interesting to see what people wanted. It was always 10 things. Walking trails was number 1, and bar and sports food was last of the 10. So it was just interesting. So if I can get my hands on that data.
Yeah. Like I said, anything we can send them that we think pertains to our town and our area, they are more than happy. And there will be individual stakeholder meetings. They do one-on-ones with all elected officials and town employees that want to participate. And then they ask for small groups of stakeholders within the town, categorized like business, new home, livability, I think was one. People who have interest in parks and the recs and that kind of stuff. And then we'll do those individual stakeholder group meetings. So we are looking for names for those individual stakeholder meetings.
Yes,
The steering
please.
committee was tasked with coming up with the names, but at this point, if you guys have a name that you would like to see be as part of that, get it to me, and I'm more than happy to follow up and get it over to Amber, or get it to Tina, and we'll go that route. So,
Yeah, and we're looking for stakeholders. There's 5 groups that we're looking. It was character, identity, and livability is one group of stakeholders. Land use, growth, and economic development. So here we might invite some builders and some developers to talk to us about an economic development. Maybe we bring out some people in the area who have economic development focus. There's another stakeholder group of just downtown. A group for transportation systems and public services. I don't even know if that makes much sense here, except for our trails and that kind of stuff, parks. And then the last is parks, trails, and natural systems, where we would have stakeholders who are engaged with, using the rivers or the creeks or trails.
Number one thing to get people to go downtown Fort Wayne, number one, just shy of 60% places to park. And I know this has been a topic downtown here, like more than I care to talk about it again. The next thing to get residents for things to do was recreational parks. So it really does overlap our area big time. Some of it clearly won't pertain, but parking in parks are like very high on the list. So,
yeah, I think one of the things we talked about at our last meeting was, when you talk to people who live within Leo, while you have town proper Leo, you can go, outside the town limits, and we are Leo residents, right? We are, even though they're not in the town, they are Leo residents. So it's been interesting to, for me, I'd like to see a group of people saying, hey, what are they, what makes you want to be part of us? And what does that look like for the future for us? Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, we only have a few more options within the town limits to really expand our housing and our growth.
We need to start talking about that too.
yes, we need to start looking at that.
So, but
Expanding.
that was talked about briefly the other night, and that brings up a whole host of questions and reasons why.
Well, I think, let's get through the envision.
Yes. Which is, like I said, just so you guys know, that is already being talked about, and I think that will be,
And then looking at expanding.
yes, part of this
We
process.
don't need 3 things roll at once.
No, but I think it's all rolling into one big ball at this point.
Just remember, everything you keep off, you're a year behind.
Right.
Well, and this study was phenomenal. I will reach out to our executive officer of the board and see if I can get him.
Yeah.
And share him, because it's great.
So. All right. Do you have anything else, Tina?
Did you have any questions?
Questions? All right. Is there any miscellaneous business? Public comment?
Yeah, I didn't sign it, but just something that Tina said about giving out flyers at the Bloom Fest. I thought that was a pretty good idea. I got to thinking that at the Bloom Fest event, probably 95% of those people aren't around here. So them telling us how to spend our tax dollars, I don't know how good that is, but it doesn't hurt, I guess, to look at it, but just be aware of that they're not our people, so.
I'm out there directing traffic for about 9-10 hours. I recognize a lot of people from around here, some about 95.
Okay.
It may be about 50-50.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's cool.
yeah.
And I think it's a
more about
usability and
feedback.
livability, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at that data. Why, from those people, it's not necessarily how I'm going to spend my tax dollars, but while the event, Bloom Fest is what drew them here. Ultimately, what do you like about our town now that you're in it? What works, what doesn't work? If you were going to move here, what would attract you to move here?
And that's what that data was too.
Right,
So,
yeah.
and that'd be a great additional data.
Right. So.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you're too close to something, like when you live in this community, you may not see the assets that people from the outside come and see. And it's easy to take some of it for granted,
Right.
And like one of the things pointed out in the steering committee is that there's some concern that even though we have some really nice little shops downtown and restaurants, people are not utilizing them and they won't stay. Because our local residents don't support them, they won't succeed. And when you come from out of town and you go to these shops, people say, it's so cute, and look how charming this is, and, oh, I wanna go shop here. So, because for them, it's an outing, and for the locals, it's just another day. So, it's trying to get that balance of perspectives, I think, is what the consultants are talking about.
I think that's all good, I agree with that, but maybe one of the questions would be, are you a town resident or within so many miles? Just so you know where it's coming from, but I think that is really good.
So. All right, any other public comment? The park board meets June 10th at 5. We do have a planning commission meeting June 10th at 6, and the information for that planning committee meeting is item number 6 on the town manager report, and then the stormwater meets June 12th. Do we have anything else we need to take care of? If not, meeting's adjourned. See you, Tim.
Bye.